Imagine trying to read, hunt, or simply walk through a crowded medieval city with blurry vision. Today we take glasses for granted, but for most of human history, poor eyesight was a mystery, a curse, a divine punishment, or simply fate. But how did people cope? Did they try to fix it? And how did their world look without the luxury of clear sight? Stay with us as we explore the fascinating ways humans survived and adapted to poor eyesight before the invention of glasses. The earliest records of poor vision date back thousands of years. The Egyptians, famed for their medical knowledge, recorded eye ailments on papyrus scrolls as early as 1500 BCE. Their solutions? Herbal salves, honey, and sometimes amulets meant to ward off the evil eye, which ironically wasn't too far from their own. Aristotle, the great Greek philosopher, wrote about old age and failing sight around 350 BCE, but no one knew why vision worsened over time. On the other hand, the Romans experimented with water-filled glass spheres, an early crude version of magnification. But what about the East? Ancient texts in China suggest that around 1000 BCE, scholars with poor eyesight would hold polished quartz over documents to magnify text, a small step toward lenses. For the most part, though, if you had bad eyesight in the ancient world, your fate was clear. You would simply adapt or perish. By the medieval period, poor eyesight wasn't just an inconvenience. It could be deadly. For warriors, losing sight meant losing life. Many knights who suffered from poor vision had their swords engraved with distinctive patterns to recognize their own weapons. Falconers used different colored hoods to distinguish birds. But for scholars, scribes, and monks, who depended on reading to preserve knowledge, the struggle was real. By the 9th century, monks in monasteries used reading stones, essentially rounded pieces of quartz or beryl placed over manuscripts to magnify text. Some tried even more inventive solutions. Oil lamp reflections were used to enhance visibility in dim, candlelit rooms, and some medieval herbalists recommended eye elixirs made from fennel and crushed pearls, though these likely did more harm than good. The message was clear. If you couldn't see well, you had to find ways to work around it, or find someone who could see for you. By the late Middle Ages and into the 13th century, something remarkable happened. Glassmakers in Venice began crafting the first real vision aids. These were known as reading stones, convex glass lenses that could be placed directly on manuscripts. Soon after, monks in Italy began experimenting with primitive spectacles, small handheld lenses mounted on wooden or bone frames. These early glasses were useful, but there was a problem. They only helped people with farsightedness. Those with myopia or nearsightedness would have to wait a few centuries for real solutions. During this time, scholars like Roger Bacon theorized about optics, pushing the idea that sight could be corrected, not just aided, but it would take the Renaissance to truly refine the technology. For most of history, poor eyesight was an unsolved problem, an affliction that forced people to adapt. They used magnifying stones, squinted in candlelight, relied on friends and family, or simply learned to live in a blurred world. The invention of glasses changed everything. Suddenly the blind could read, the old could continue working, and scholars could write late into the night. It was, quite literally, a new way to see the world. And so, the next time you put on your glasses, think of the centuries of struggle, adaptation, and ingenuity that brought you here. Because before glasses, the world was not just harder, it was much, much blurrier. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for more history content.